Hello and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Ronnie Dahl. Today's edition of the Megacast on Civic Center TV, on WBTV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, 89.3 WBLD and 88.1 WBFH, the Biff. In addition today, we are on the Facebook page of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Of course, I'm here in the Civic Center TV studios and on location at home, working remotely. We have Ronnie Dahl joining us as we do each and every day. Ronnie?
Tyler, happy Thursday to you. The weather is getting so much better outside. I hope you got the chance to get out this morning before going in to the studio there, because I have a feeling we only have a few more days of this nice weather. I mean, what a weird week, right? We started off the week with snow, and now it's going to be 60 degrees.
Yeah, very, very weird stuff going on here. Michigan's weather, once again, just can't decide. Just be cold or be warm. It's in between.
Right. So typical of Mother Nature in this time of year. I will say I was looking to try to find an edition of the Farmer's Almanac to see what the winter is going to be like. Have you ever read the Farmer's Almanac, Tyler?
Not in a few years, but I have before.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. When we were planning our wedding, it was an outdoor wedding, and I got the almanac so that I could check the weather as I was planning it. Don't know how accurate it actually is, but it did work for the wedding, which is a good thing. So, but the weather, like we said, it's going to be about 60 degrees today. Get out and enjoy it. It looks like the wind has died down too, finally. It has been crazy, wicked windy all week long. Yesterday, Tyler, I had to spend the afternoon cleaning up the entire backyard. I had decorations and pillows everywhere. I'm still missing a couple pumpkins, but we'll find them eventually.
Yeah, you'll get to them. You'll get there.
So hope everyone is having a great Thursday. It's November 19th. Just think, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It is next week. Of course, this year it's going to be a lot different for everyone because we are being told to not only stay home, but limit your interaction with your family members and your friends this year due to COVID-19. And there's some latest news coming out regarding COVID-19. And if we can get to the headlines, Tyler, just to let people know now, this is how bad things are actually getting here in the state of Michigan. The spread of the coronavirus is rampant in Michigan right now, and cases and deaths are rising at all age groups and among all racial and ethnic groups. The state's top epidemiologist said during a news conference yesterday, detailing where the state stands in the pandemic. And here's a stat that's a little bit scary right now. Michigan, the state of Michigan now ranks 6th nationally in coronavirus cases and 5th for the number of COVID-19 related deaths. So some scary numbers there. And with so many people contracting the virus, Michigan's contact tracing system is becoming overwhelmed. And people are being urged to download that new free and anonymous My COVID app so you can get notifications of close contacts who've tested positive for the virus. So far, more than 280,000 people have already signed up for that app. 6th in the nation, Tyler. Those are some scary numbers.
Yeah, and they're getting scarier over time. Michigan for a while was one of the lower 5 to 10 states in terms of coronavirus numbers, and now slowly but surely inching its way back up there. Number 6 in cases, of course, and I believe number 5 in total deaths as well. So it's getting fairly worse here in Michigan than it is in other states as well.
I think one of the things that's going to make this hard for our healthcare system is, as the doctor was mentioning earlier in the week, you got to remember way back in the beginning, it was pretty isolated here in the state of Michigan. Detroit was hit the hardest, but other parts of the state weren't hit by the virus like we were here in Southeast Michigan. Plus, they were able to get some healthcare workers to come in from Cleveland Clinic to come over to the Detroit area to help out. But now Ohio is being hit hard right now, so they're not going to be able to utilize those resources like they once did before, and the rest of the state of Michigan is being hit with the virus as well. So again, that a reminder for everyone just to, wear a mask and stay home as much as possible to protect you as well as your loved ones. And one thing the state's going to be doing, Tyler, is Michigan plans unannounced COVID-19 protocol checkups for businesses. So how this is going to work, the state has a new partnership, and they're helping Michigan send more of its ambassadors across the state to do unannounced drop-in visits at businesses to help with pandemic protocols. So the Michigan Occupational Safety, Health, and Administration announced the partnership on Wednesday with an Ann Arbor-based company. The nonprofit helps develop public health standards and certification programs. So MIOSHA plans to do about 2,300 Tier 1 visits by the end of the year and 7,000 by the middle of 2021. The program targets public-facing businesses such as gyms, stores, and restaurants. So the visits, they'll take about 20 minutes, and the ambassador will do a short assessment, offering tips, and even leaving a toolkit of materials behind. They're there for educational purposes, not to fine or cite the businesses. However, it doesn't mean that the businesses can't be cited in the future for citations if a complaint does come in. And so far, remember, about 35 businesses have been fined here in the state of Michigan for not following those COVID-19 protocols. So this is just one way, Tyler, that they are trying to see if businesses are actually taking some of these measures seriously.
Yeah, and they're checking in on them and making sure that if they need help, they're giving the help that's needed as well to be able to comply. So it's not necessarily a gotcha situation where they're trying to catch businesses red-handed doing something wrong and not following the guidelines. They want to make sure they're helping these businesses too. If there's something egregious there, sure, they're probably going to get fined. If it's a business that they've visited multiple times that continues to not follow the guidelines, and certainly they'll be fined at that point. But they're also trying to be helpful in this, because for a lot of these businesses, they are trying to balance being safe for their customers and being safe for their staff with also following these guidelines to the best of their ability that doesn't impede them from being able to make profits.
Yeah, I mean, some of these business owners are in a tough spot, especially if you have a restaurant or a bar or some of the other ones where you hire employees for maybe, $12, $14 an hour or something, and you're trusting that they're going to follow the protocols when maybe you as the owner isn't, if you're not in your, establishment. So it's really an educational opportunity for some of these businesses as well as some of the employees. Hey, but if you could still actually, if you need to like to roll the dice, you can still actually gamble here in the state of Michigan. Now, the Detroit casinos are closed down as part of this partial shutdown for the next 3 weeks, but Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Mount Pleasant, as well as Assagining Eagle Landing in Standish, they are remaining open during the 3-week partial shutdown ordered by the state health department, citing a track record of success with COVID-19 safety protocols. The casinos are not subject to the state's order because they are owned by the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan, and the order does not pertain to tribal casinos. Officials announced the decision to remain open via their respective Facebook pages this week, saying in part the announcement read, we have a track record of success. Our experience with coronavirus transmission has been that the safety protocols are effective, especially the requirement that all team members and guests wear masks. Contact tracing indicates that coronavirus transmission typically occurs outside of the casino environment, where masks may not have been worn and other protocols may not have been followed. So you can actually still go to the casinos here in the state of Michigan, just not the ones in the city of Detroit. But, they do kind of make a good point if they are following the protocols and there have been no outbreaks linked back to the casino. But we're also kind of hearing that argument from some of the restaurants as well, Tyler, that have been ordered to shut down to indoor dining for the 3 weeks, and now they are filing a lawsuit.
Yes, they believe that they can operate safely, and that's actually safer for them to operate with in-person dining than it is for people to be getting takeout and be getting delivery and possibly gathering with other people in their homes. In fact, John McNamara, the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, we had him on the program on Monday, and he said just that. And then, of course, that's one of their big arguments in this court case, hoping to reverse that portion of this 3-week epidemic order decision from the Department of Health and Human Services.
It's going to be interesting over the next few weeks. But again, just a reminder, you can catch all of the latest headlines over on civiccentertv.com. Just click on that coronavirus tab. And then also while you're there, you'll also see at the top of the page, we have links to other websites and other resources, such as the CDC, the state of Michigan, and Oakland County, if you want to get that information and see some of those executive orders directly for yourself. So civiccentertv.com, you'll get all that information. Again, we're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. But when we come back, we have a big show ahead for you here on the Oakland County Megacast, and we'll be starting off at a sweet location, Tyler, although a new bakery in town. What has it been like for them? They opened up right before the pandemic. So we'll be checking in with the Bakehouse over in Birmingham, Michigan, when the Oakland County Megacast returns.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Khaldun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studio. Tyler is holding things down back at the studio there in West Bloomfield. Just a reminder, you can catch us Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. If you have cable, thank you for still subscribing to cable, because a portion of your bill helps support programming such as this. So you can catch us on Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T, and also if you're out driving around, tune us into the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And we also want to say thank you to the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. So thank you to them. Right now, as of yesterday, many of the restaurants were ordered to close to indoor dining for the next 3 weeks as the number of COVID cases continues to surge here in the state of Michigan. But sweet treats are still available if you're in the Birmingham area. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is going to be Chelsea Smith. She is with Bakehouse 46. You have the best setup ever. How are you this morning?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you?
We are doing great. I will say, how do you handle the temptation of being in the bakery every day?
Well, it's really difficult actually, especially if you skipped, lunch or breakfast. It's easy to snack down a cookie or a couple donuts just to hold yourself over.
So I know that I believe I read that you opened your doors in February 2020, right before the pandemic. But for those not familiar with the location, give us a little bit of background about the bakery because it's unique.
Yeah, so Bakehouse 46 is a collaboration between Cupcake Station and Blake Farms. So it's a joint venture where we have the best of both worlds. We've got our great cupcakes that we've always done from scratch, and then we introduce all of the Blake's products. So we've got fresh fried donuts in the store every morning, our apple cider, and then we wanted to kind of like bring that all together and bring it the farm to the people. So in addition to that, we also added on, cookies and brownies and fudge. We've got bagels, coffee offering, really nice sandwiches every day. So we first opened up here in Birmingham. Bakehouse 46 comes from obviously baked goods, and then Blake's was established in 1946. And then, so we just really want to continue to grow our concept. So we also just opened a location in Rochester as well.
Wow, I didn't realize that they've been around since 1946. That's quite a long career and so many tasty treats. So what's this been like for you guys? You opened up and now you have a second location, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, so when we first opened up, it was a little scary. We were all very excited. We had a lot of momentum going into this launch. And obviously we kept hearing about coronavirus. What is it? We're all just doing the same kind of thing. And it was kind of great because, our model when we were Cupcake Station was always like a grab and go. Nobody really dined in. And so when we were coming up with the concept of Bakehouse 46, we wanted it to be an on-the-go culture. So it really pushed us into, broadening our website, getting into the delivery services of DoorDash, Grubhub. And then, of course, trying to get into mobile ordering is what we're developing right now. Just, so we can kind of stay ahead of this. And also we did fun little decorating kits and, things that people can do at home while we're waiting. So it's definitely just trying to keep progressive and, work through the shift of it all.
So in the beginning, there was so much excitement and a push to help support local businesses and restaurants during the pandemic. Are you hoping to see that same support going into this next 3-week shutdown?
Yeah, I'm really hoping to see that. And I do feel that we already have seen that. Yesterday, a lot of our customers were coming in, concerned, asking us how we're feeling. And honestly, we feel really great. Our business model is strong. We've already been through this. And it's funny because when we opened up Birmingham, we shut down 4 weeks after we opened. And we just opened up Rochester, and now we're shutting down dine-in for another 4 weeks. But we've shifted, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. So we're doing some really great, pull-apart cupcakes for the family and, smaller quantities. And we're baking pies to save anybody who doesn't want to be doing that at home right now. So we've gotten a lot of support from the community. So we really appreciate it.
And how has this been for you and your team members to try to come up with different ways to operate? What are those conversations like?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was a little scary as we're all very scared, but, it's exciting working with all of these creatives because everyone, is creative with making desserts or coming up with recipes. So everyone is very innovative on what we can do to shift our model, to bring in more customers, to get their attention, just to be really exciting. So it's been a really empowering group to be a part of. And especially with the Blake's team, they put a lot of trust in trusting their employees on, what we should do to shift. And it's just when you get all of these really like-minded people and creative people together, it's really amazing what we can accomplish.
Chelsea Smith with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the retail manager for Bakehouse 46. It is a bakery. I can't wait to visit this place in Birmingham. So you have apple cider year round, or is it just seasonal?
Oh yeah, we've got apple cider year round. We get it fresh pressed every week. And, we, of course, have got the cider mill donuts. Behind me, you can see that we offer a lot of jarred goods. And going into this holiday season, we're going to do some really great holiday packs and gift baskets. So if you're looking for something on the run, we'll have that. We also do caramel apples and fudge all from the farm. So if you want to cut out that commute, you can come visit us here right in Birmingham.
And so can people buy a gift card for people? Do you offer those?
Yeah, we do offer gift cards. Currently, we just are doing a paper gift card. We're switching over our systems in the midst of this pandemic. So we will have also electronic gift cards coming soon.
Who comes up with the designs and the flavors for some of your food items?
So part of my job as retail development coordinator is, doing the R&D for this. So a lot of the cupcakes we've had, for 13 years since Cupcake Station has been going on, but we get to do a lot of R&D and development. Right now we're working on some really great hot cocoa recipes and hot cocoa ice cream floats. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were doing these really great gourmet Choco Tacos. So that's a lot of the work that I do with the team, that we can really come up with all these creative ideas.
Any plans to have those hot cocoa bombs? I'm seeing those all over Pinterest right now.
Yeah, so the girls are all really excited about the hot cocoa bombs. So we do have some development going on with those as well.
That is so great. Chelsea Smith with us here. She's from Bakehouse 46. For people who aren't familiar with the hot cocoa bombs, do you want to explain what they are?
Yeah, it's basically just a condensed hot cocoa sugar ball, and you can just drop it into like your hot cream or your water, and it's kind of like a bath bomb. So it's really fun to watch.
But instead of a bath bomb, you actually get to drink it and enjoy all of the flavors. So anyone who's watching right now, it might seem like we're a little crazy, but they've become like all the rage. Every time you open Pinterest, that's on there. So Chelsea, for those that haven't maybe been to the Bakehouse, how is it working right now? Do you call ahead to place an order? Because one of the things when I go to a bakery such as yours, it really is about seeing everything before you make that decision. So how do you think that's going to impact your sales?
Right. So that definitely is a big selling point for baked goods, is seeing them and smelling them and getting, all of the excitement from them. So we really want to, accommodate everybody. So if you're interested in purchasing online, we've got all of our cupcakes listed there with pictures, so you could see it virtually and order. You can place your order there, and we'll bring it out to you curbside, or you can come in. We've also have all of this up on DoorDash, so you can virtually see it there as well. And then we are welcoming our customers in for dine-in and carry-out only. So our cases are still full. We still, we'll pour your fresh cup of coffee, put the cream in it, give it to you. We're maintaining social distancing within the store and just asking that our customers respect that and do the same.
I know one of the things I saw on your website is that you are very much a Michigan company, including down to your coffee.
Yeah, so we get all of our coffee locally roasted out of Lake Orion. It's a company called White Pine. They do all organic fair trade coffee. We've got 2 blends, a light roast and a medium roast, and then we also do a really great cold brew. So our coffee is great. We also have it in retail packs here in the store, so if anyone's interested, they can come and get a bag.
One of the problems for so many retail outlets right now, or smaller businesses, has to do with employees, finding employees, keeping employees. How are you guys doing on that front?
Yeah, so I think as though everyone is really struggling right now to, keep their businesses staffed. We definitely noticed a much larger struggle in the beginning, as everyone, was very unsure of what this really meant. And it's been a struggle and it's been a challenge. We've really had the people that we've been working with step up, and really proud that this is the team that we're working with right now. So although it is difficult, it is getting better. So there is some hope on the horizon.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to help if a lot of the college kids come home and from school? I think, a lot of colleges are saying, hey, if you come home for November or Thanksgiving, stay home. So do you think that will maybe help you with a pool of applicants?
Yeah, so we've already been getting some buzz from those college kids that are coming home for the holidays. But the funny thing is the majority of our workforce right now are those high schoolers who are doing, virtual learning at certain hours of the day. And so they come in at the oddest hours that you never would expect, 16-year-olds to come in, and they are just kicking butt for us. So we are so thankful for them. And it's been really great that they can also, still get their education on and make a little cash on the side.
Wow, I guess I don't know why. For some reason, I just assumed that they were sitting virtually in class all day, at home in front of their computers. But I guess they can kind of hop in and hop off of certain classes.
They definitely. Their classes have been like sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. So it's really been helpful to us. So thank you for Michigan education right now.
So what do you think you and your team have learned during the middle of this pandemic that has been a benefit and may stick around for you post-pandemic, if we ever get there?
Yeah, so I think that the main thing that we've really learned is really how to evolve and pivot. Even just as quickly as last week, finding out about these new orders that are in place. We came up with new things that you could be doing at home. We've got Thanksgiving kits, decorating kits, this giant cupcake turkey. So it's definitely been like keeping everybody on their toes, and, nothing's really holding us back. And I think that this whole pandemic's really taught us that we can really do anything that we want. So it's really great.
I really wish we had smell-o-vision right now, because those treats sitting in front of you look amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah. These breakfast sandwiches, I'm very proud of. We came up ourselves, and, that's one of the highlights that I think that it's, of course, it's wonderful to bring in all these sweet treats, but these sandwiches, if you're ever in town, in the morning or at lunch, definitely come check them out, because they're a very great offering.
What's one of the craziest combinations that you and your team members have come up with?
Well, I really do think that we did a great job with this, those Choco Tacos. So we had, these really great, strawberry shells filled with cheesecake and ice cream and dipped in white chocolate and covered in dried strawberries. But right now we've got this really great cupcake that everyone came up with, and it's chocolate, and it's got a Kahlua whipped cream or buttercream. So it's called the Mudslide, and you can definitely get your little hint of booze in that one. It's very tasty.
Well, you are definitely going to get some people to stop in to the Bakehouse 46 with that cupcake. Chelsea, thank you so much for being with us. Before we let you go, anything we didn't touch on that you want the listeners and the viewers to know, or even some advice to other small businesses?
I mean, just for other businesses, just hang in there. And again, just keep thinking on your feet, pivot and move with the times. We really don't know how long, we're going to be in this, but I think that we do have the support of our communities and our customers. So as long as we're evolving with the times, I think that everyone can make it through.
Chelsea Smith with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She is with Bakehouse 46. They have 2 locations, one in Birmingham, one in Rochester. Support her, support the team, support local businesses during this next 3-week pause. Let's hope that it is only 3 weeks. So we appreciate your time, Chelsea, and wish you the best of luck. Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we'll continue to hang out in Birmingham, and we'll be talking to the CEO for the Birmingham Bloomfield Art Center. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 help hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Wear a mask.
The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Will this be on video as well?
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Ronnie Dahl on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and online, lakesfm.com, the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce Facebook page as well. And I'm joined, of course, as always, by Ronnie Dahl.
Tyler, those treats at the Bakehouse 46 looked amazing. I need to head out there this afternoon. Have you ever been there?
I have not. No, I have not been there, but it does sound delightful.
Oh my gosh, it's on my must-visit list. Birmingham is not too far for us, so again, support local. It's great that they are a part of the Blake's team. I didn't realize Blake's has been around Michigan since 1946, so great to have them in the community. And while you're over in that area, you want to also go ahead and stop into the Birmingham Bloomfield Art Center. Joining us right now on the Oakland County Megacast is the CEO, Annie Vangelderen. We just talked about your last name. Hey, Annie, how are you?
Good.
I don't have my glasses on because there's a reflection from the light, and so I'm trying to read my handwriting without glasses. It's impossible.
That's all right. People screw up my name whether they have their glasses on or not. It's Vangelderen.
Well, Annie, it's great to have you here on the Oakland County Megacast. How are things going for you and your team over at the Art Center? Are you open right now during the pause?
We are with limited occupancy, of course. Things are kind of slowing down. We're just ending our classes just before the Thanksgiving break. Talk about pivoting. Obviously, we've done the pivot as well. We're only offering adult classes right now, and our youth classes are all virtual. But they're just finishing up their semester, and then come December 3rd, all things going positive is we'll open up our holiday shop, which will be open to the public.
So for those not familiar with the Art Center, fill us in on your location and what you all do there and what you offer.
So we're all about visual arts. So we have many, many classes for both adult and youth. We say 3 to 93, but I will attest that we have some students who are over 93. And we're offering all types of medium, painting, ceramics, jewelry, metals, etc., for both youth and adult. Now, of course, during this pandemic, we've had to change our occupancy so that our studio spaces are filled with about 60% less than what we would normally run, but our classes are still running, and we have not had one incident of COVID. We are absolutely requiring masks and social distancing, and luckily we have a 25,000 square foot building, so we're able to spread out. And for the last few months, we've had exhibitions. We just finished an exhibition, and people were able to come from the public to come and view the exhibitions, and everyone wore the masks, and it was really quite lovely. And people kept saying how wonderful it was to be able to experience something in person rather than on video.
And yet, because art is such an expression of one's self. And so how is that working? I know you said you're teaching, like the kids are virtual. How is that working with them?
Well, unfortunately, there's Zoom fatigue with for some of the youth, but we're still trying to do it. Instead of going into the semesters, we're actually creating shorter workshops for kids. And then we've also been offering, since the second week of March, a children's art activity kit for just $15. and they have anywhere from 8 to 10 different projects within the kit. And we've been mailing those to home, and those are only $15, as I said. And then every week we're doing an art challenge that's multi-generational, and you can get that in our e-blast. And it's for using things that you might have at home, whether it's spices or paper or newspaper. And it's a way to do something creative with the things you have at home. And then, of course, we always have a nice little art lesson with that so that you can have that connection. So we're trying to make sure that people still are being creative. I think it's so important now more than ever to be able to take some time aside, focus on something other than the news around you, and also for parents to have an avenue to work something with their children as well. That's fun.
Yeah, and have you seen more parents are getting involved in doing some of these projects with their kids?
We've sold over 600 kits since the second week of March. We have grandparents buying kits, and we're mailing them to Florida or California, everywhere. And our virtual children's classes, we've had cousins or friends from different states join in on the class. So this way they're having some kind of social connection with their relatives or friends who may have moved away. So it's amazing. You think about all the audiences that you might try to reach, and never did we think in March that we were going to reach audiences in Chicago or LA or Portland.
I would say that number, 600 kits, seems astounding to me. Such a large number that you're mailing out. When you say kits, can you explain some of the items that people are getting?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have one in front of me, but we have one right now that's specifically for Thanksgiving. And there are 8 different projects in the kit, and it contains all the materials to do these projects with the instructions. Next week, we will be kicking off a winter project kit. And again, it'll have 8 or 10 different projects within it. All the materials are included. So for example, this kit, we have paint and clay and paintbrushes and colored pencils and the paper, everything you need to do all these different projects, all within the kit, and very simple instructions. So parents can help the youngest, we say from like 4 or 5 and up. And then once they're in middle school, they can pretty much do it self on their own.
Who comes up with the designs in the projects to go into the kits?
So I don't sleep. We're constantly thinking about things. Now we change these kits every 2 to 3 weeks, and we have an incredible youth program director who comes up with a lot of the different ideas. I come up with a lot of the different ideas. We play off each other, and then we order the materials, and then we assemble them in kit form so that they're ready to be mailed out.
One of the things we are hearing from people, teachers or professors, or people such as yourself, is they are actually working so many more hours, because even if they're working remotely, they're constantly trying to, like you said, come up with new ways to do things. Do you find that happening with you and your staff as well?
Absolutely. As I said before, now is more than ever, it's nice to take an hour or 2 break from everything that is, around you, whether it's work or the news or sickness. So to be able to focus on just an art project really takes your mind off of things. It also gives you some kind of happiness when you actually complete something on your own. And we make sure that whether it's the art challenge or the art kits, that you're going to be successful. We don't want people to feel frustrated, yet they're a little higher level than what you would normally get at like a Michael's or something like that, because face it, working here at the Art Center, we're all artists, we're all professional artists. We are been in this art world for many, many years. And one of the things about the Art Center is, always offering quality programming, and the pandemic is not stopping us.
What do you see going forward? What have you learned that's been a benefit that you think you'll keep doing after the pandemic?
Well, we think these art kits are going to be probably with us for a very, very long time. We've always offered some free youth programming, whether it's at our art fair or other community events under a children's art activity tent. So while we can't have the masses to do that, we want to still be able to provide an opportunity to be creative. I think our art challenges will continue to go on. People have had great response to that, and we're actually encouraging them, once they do the art challenge, to send us an image, and then we'll post it on our social media site. And we've had raffles as well for our membership to do that. And then our holiday shop was a great opportunity to see over 200 artists. It's record breaking this year. And partly is because we have so many artists who haven't been able to do the art fair circuit for almost a full year. So they've been quite receptive to have their wares here at the holiday shop. And we're excited to be able to help artists. I mean, this is what we do. It's part of our mission. And I think it'll be an opportunity for the public to make an impact as well for these lives that have been hurt because of the pandemic, and help the Art Center as well. We are a nonprofit.
And so with that, Annie, tell us a little bit more about the holiday shop. When is it, and how can the public attend? Is it all going to be in person, or will some of the items be offered up virtually for sale as well?
Well, it starts December 3rd to the 21st, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and noon to 4 on Sunday. We are going to be open to the public. We will be monitoring how many people are coming into the building. But as I said, we have a 25,000 square foot building, so I think it is manageable. Masks are required. And then we will have an online, probably the item of the day. Once it's gone, it's gone. Because every piece in the holiday shop is unique. It's artisan made. So it'll probably be an item of the day, and we will offer that online and offer free shipping as well. Or you can do curbside pickup.
And Annie, you had mentioned a little bit about some of the artists not being able to do the art fair circuit. In your discussions with them, how are they doing? How are they surviving during this crisis? And what happens if it continues for another 6 months?
It is tragic. So when you think about an art fair artist, they usually start in the winter in the Florida or Arizona or California. And then as the weather turns, they start moving up to the Midwest. Well, by March, all art fairs were closed. And again, many of these artists, the majority of them, go from art fair to art fair. And they're not getting a PPP loan. They are, self-employed. So once they lose that revenue stream, it's gone. And so artists have been tragically impacted by this pandemic. And I think that's why we have over 200 artists participating this year in our holiday shop. It's a form for them to at least eke out a little bit of revenue at the end of the year. We're keeping our fingers crossed that late spring we might be able to start having art fairs again. I know many of the Florida fairs in January and February have already been canceled. The Art Center has our Art Birmingham Art Fair on Mother's Day weekend, and we're hoping that we can do it. It'll be probably smaller than our normal art fair participants, just because we want to control how many people are coming. But we're hoping that we can do that, because last year we did have to cancel the art fair.
Annie Vangelderen with us on the Oakland County Megacast. She is the CEO of the Birmingham Bloomfield Art Center. And so your holiday shop, it's going to feature, of course, 200 plus artists with some original works. And this particular year, the holiday shop is also going to benefit those artists as well. Can you explain a little bit about where this year's proceeds are going to go and how they will benefit these artists in a year that's been a big struggle for a lot of them.
Sure. So the Art Center takes a small commission for all the sales, which help fund all our programming here. Again, as I said, we're a nonprofit, and this year we have been, severely impacted as well. All our fundraising events have been canceled. But then the artists will get paid. They don't have to be on site, which is a beautiful thing. We cover all the sales taxes, and then they get the majority of the income. We start distributing checks starting January. And then whatever was shipped here, we ship back. And then, of course, a lot of the artists, I'd say the majority of the artists are Michigan-based. And they'll pick up their merchandise as well, unless we carry it in our gallery shop that runs all year round.
Yeah, Annie, I think about some of these artists, and even when a vaccine starts to become available, you wonder, is the public ever going to feel comfortable going to an art fair? Because they're so popular. We have the one here in West Bloomfield every single year, or over at, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They're extremely popular, but you wonder how long is it going to take the public to feel comfortable to be around large crowds again. And then from an artist standpoint, they have to be wondering the same thing. And how long are they going to be able to continue to do what they're doing? Are you seeing some people maybe give up on their art to go back to maybe a mainstream job?
That's a tough question. Just from our personal perspective for how we are pivoting for Art Birmingham coming up Mother's Day weekend, there are, new rules and regulations. And I think the largest hiccup is people gathering inside a tent, because something that's really popular, sometimes you'll go inside a tent and have, 20 or 30 people, and you can just have shoulder room. So we have to definitely address that. And then obviously the person who's most impacted is the artist who's sitting in that tent. So there's some art fairs that are now questioning about having one side open so that there's free air coming in. But I think the general public misses these art fairs. I mean, it's always been something to go out and do, and something different, and being to have that interaction with the artists themselves. I always say, when you buy a piece of art at an art fair, you start to learn the story behind the piece of art, whether it's a ceramic bowl or whether it's a painting. And then when you take it home, that story becomes your story, because you've had that interaction with the artist, and there's always that memory. And then when people ask about a certain painting or something, of course, you're going to remember that story. And like I said, it becomes your story. So there's something really tangible there in that interaction. And I think now more than ever, we crave that. So I'm hoping that the art fairs are going to continue. I think the people will come out to support them. And same with our holiday shop. I think people are going to be looking for that unique item and helping support, whether it's small businesses in our downtown Birmingham or downtown Rochester, or the Art Center and other nonprofits. I think it's really important now more than ever. And we all love Amazon, but this is the year to support the small businesses and nonprofits.
And on top of that, when you're giving a gift, if you can give a gift with a story, it means more, especially when it's someone local as well.
Absolutely. And even though we have over 200 artists here at the Art Center, we have their bios. We know everything about them. We know the process. The staff is really up on that, so that if a customer asks a little bit about a ceramic bowl and trying to understand what it is, we can give them that information. And then it gets passed on. So it is important.
So Annie, you mentioned that you are a nonprofit. How has it been for you and your team with fundraising and trying to keep the doors open right now?
It has been a challenge, but we've plowed through. So we were definitely, we had canceled all our spring terms, all our summer terms, all our summer camps. Everything was canceled. All our fundraising events, our Art Birmingham Art Fair, our summer Fine Art of Summer, and then this year this is the first time we're not having Shop and Champagne, which is the fundraiser that kicks off the holiday shop, just because we can't navigate 200 or 300 people here in the building eating and drinking. So all our fundraiser events have been canceled for this year. Of course, we started doing our September classes. This is the first time we've started doing classes mid-September, but at about 60% less occupancy. So, but we thought it was very important to then employ our instructors and give them an opportunity to teach. And then also for those who wish to come back to take classes in a safe environment, we thought that was really important. So we are keeping our doors open. We're plugging along. It's really important. This art center has been around since 1957. Our vision is art for all, and we follow that every single day. So whether it's an art kit, an art challenge, or coming here on site, taking an adult class or a youth virtual class, we're making it happen. And then we're continuing with our art access programming. So we have programming for Alzheimer's patients, for caregivers, et cetera. So we are doing those virtual for the time being, but we're still moving forward because we think it's really important.
Oh, it is so important. And with that, if someone wants to possibly sign up for a class or to learn more about the Art Center, where can they get that information?
They can go to our website, bbartcenter.org, or just give us a call on our phone, 248-644-0866. We're happy to help. Staff is full blown here. We have everyone on staff still working, and we're happy to help. We're happy to help with an art kit, anything that you need. And again, December 3rd is when our holiday shop opens.
So with the art classes, do they fill up pretty quickly, or are there still room? Is there still room available for people to sign up?
So today's our first day of registration for our winter classes that start in January, and the phones are ringing. So that's a good sign. We're looking forward to that. We're hoping January is the beginning of a new year and everything will be going strong. We're going to still keep our occupancy at about 50 to 60% less than what we would normally have in the class. But, you know, we didn't have a real problem as far as in our September, our fall classes, as far as people not getting in, or if they couldn't get into a particular class, we were able to place them in a class that was very similar, and then they were able to come in. So, yes, it starts today. It's hard to think it's going to be January, but it is winter.
I know, but the weeks do fly by, I will say that. So give us a rundown. What are some of the classes that are available?
Oh, my goodness. So in our adult classes, we offer over 500 classes a year.
Wow.
So Monday through Saturday, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we have a plethora of classes, everything from beginner and introductory to advanced. All our instructors are professional artists, and most of them teach at the college level. So they're teaching at CCS, Wayne State, U of M. And so you're getting almost the similar class that you would take at a college that you are getting here, but with only about 4 or 5 people in the class. And about a third of the price, because we subsidize most of the tuition, being a nonprofit. So it's a great opportunity. If you haven't taken a drawing class since middle school, we can teach you how to draw again. If you feel like making your first pair of earrings, we can help you do that. Or turn a bowl, we can do that as well in the ceramics department. So we have people from all forms of life. We have professionals who come here after work, so for our evening classes, and we have everyone from nurses to physicians to dentists to teachers coming back. We have retirees who don't golf and want to take an art class, and of course our youth classes as well. Our youth classes are taught by the same teachers that teach in the adult classes, or are certified teachers, art teachers in the public school system.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. It does sound like the phones are ringing off the hook, so good thing. Go get those phone lines and sign up some people for your art classes and keep the Art Center open. We appreciate your time, Annie.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of 89.3 Lakes FM and lakesfm.com. We're also on 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. This is 89.3 WBFA. This is 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake. Additionally, we're on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce's Facebook page. I'm joined as always by Ronnie Dahl in her home studio.
Tyler, what a great program that they have there over at the Art Center. I can barely draw a stick figure, but I have a brother that is extremely artistic. He is so good, and I'm so jealous of so many people that have those artistic skills. Can you draw or paint or do anything, Tyler?
No, I'm terrible. I'm absolutely awful at drawing and painting. The only thing that makes me look good at drawing and painting is singing.
So we're kind of in the same boat. So I think we appreciate people who do have those skills so much more because we don't have those skills. But so the Birmingham Art Center, check them out. Holiday season, shopping is right around the corner. Buy local and support the artist. They are really, really taking a hit right now during this pandemic. We're going to switch gears just a little bit. This is Thanksgiving, and it's also a time for giving and being thankful for all that we have. Even though we are in the middle of a pandemic and a lot of us are focused on what we can't do, there is a lot we can do, even in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis, to help other people. And one high school junior over at Bloomfield Hills High School is doing just that. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Andrew Zupancic. He is taking part in a project called the Porch Pantry. Andrew, thanks for being with us. Tell us about this project.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this project was started back in June, and we've done it a few times. And the idea is a no-contact food drive. So people sign up for the food drive, and we go to their houses with our volunteers. We pick up the food, and we bring it to the Lighthouse of Waterford.
So you're only a junior in high school. How did you come up with this and get involved?
So over quarantine, back around March, I'd been wanting to do a food drive for a long time. But with quarantine, and I have a history of lung issues, it was just too dangerous, and especially with COVID-19. So I had to get creative and come up with a new idea to be able to help people and get this food drive going. And that's how Project Porch Pantry was born. It's like I said, a no-contact food drive. And the idea, again, we had to find a way to have no contact at all. And setting up, there's a lot that goes into it. But basically, it was very helpful to have my family supporting me too throughout this entire process.
And how were you able to get volunteers, and how many do you have?
So volunteers are coming mainly from word of mouth and from spreading it through different posters. And I've partnered with Stuco this time around, student leadership with the Bloomfield Hills High School. And we have around 45 people working around the clock to help PR this project and help get as many people as we can to sign up.
45 people, that's a lot to organize. What have you learned personally from this project?
For me, this project has been so amazing. Going back to quarantine and even now, mental health is a huge issue, and for me it was a difficult time. And this project kind of fueled me and kept me going during these difficult times. And it shows that the most amazing part of this project is seeing the community come together to form such an amazing project and to help so many people who are in dire need, especially during COVID.
Yeah, and have you been able to talk with some of the people that have received, the food, and what's that been like, if you have?
Unfortunately, no. I'm hoping to this time around. I have talked with those at Lighthouse who are receiving the food to distribute, and they have just been so grateful for the food we have been able to donate. And we actually are in contact right now because we are expecting a lot more people than last time. So there is going to be a large influx, and we're hoping they're prepared.
Andrew Zupancic with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is a junior over at Bloomfield Hills High School and also a part of the Project Porch Pantry. So you're doing your third food drive right now. Do you think this is something that will continue post-pandemic?
I do. I really do. And part of the amazing thing about it is the convenience that the project has. Instead of people having to go out and bring food, they can just leave it on their porch and we'll take care of the rest. And we'll get it to where it needs to go.
So if someone wants to participate and donate, how can they do that? And do you need certain food items?
You can go to projectporchpantry.com. You'll find all our information about how to sign up and how the process works. And you will also see a list of food. Some of the common ones are canned food, boxed food such as noodles, and they're also accepting diapers and other baby supplies. Right now, especially too, if you have possibly Thanksgiving food such as pumpkin pie filling, that's what they're also trying to focus on so they can have great Thanksgiving meals for those in need.
That is so awesome. Hey, Andrew, you are a junior, so I'm guessing you're remote right now for school?
Yes.
What's this been like for you to try to go to high school and be remote?
Well, we started off remote. We went to hybrid, which is half the week we're there, half the week we're not. And now we're back to remote. And part of the most difficult part for me is I'm a very social person, and not being to interact with my friends the same way I'm used to, it's so hard. And also regarding student leadership, that is something I'm heavily passionate about. And we can't plan events right now. We can't do HOCO. We can't do a lot of the fundraisers or student appreciation we want to. So this entire thing has been so difficult for me. But my teachers are amazing, and they're trying to keep us together as a community, and they're the ones who are really helping me through.
That's good to hear and good to know. Tyler, before we let Andrew go, anything that you want to ask him?
Yes, if people would like to find more information or get in contact with you or others on Project Porch Pantry, to get more information, to let you know they'd like to donate if they're in the Bloomfield Hills area, or if they're in the West Bloomfield area, or if they're not even, how can they get in contact and get more information on this?
So once again, you can go to the website, projectporchpantry.com, or you can call at 248-672-6996. And again, on our website is all the information you'll need if you want to sign up, or if you don't want to necessarily donate items, you can also donate directly to the Lighthouse, which all that money will, again, go to buying food for those in need.
Andrew, I know that you started this wanting to help others, but I will say you're only a junior, but college application time will be here before you know it. and a lot of colleges are going to want you for being able to do things like this.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. And the last thing I want to say is the amazing thing about this project is it is so versatile that anyone can do it in any area. So if you would like to sponsor one of these in your area, again, you can reach out on the website. You'll find our Gmail, and we can set up what we have in Bloomfield directly in your area.
And knowing that, what advice would you give to other students who are thinking they want to do something, but they don't know how to get it from the thought process into reality?
It takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but the reward of helping others is so incredible. And my hope is that your school district too will also be very supporting in helping PR and helping spread the word about your project. So if you have an idea, go for it. If you can help others, pursue it. It's so important and it's so helpful.
And you get something out of it as well. Andrew, thank you so much for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The next food drive, we'd love to have you back on so you can share some of your experience as well. That'd be great.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, the tutor doctor will be in the house.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the medical director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our Test Locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith in the studios of 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV, joined alongside Ronnie Dahl in her home studio.
Boy, these are tough times right now for so many parents as they are continuing to navigate COVID-19 and the crisis, and more schools are now going remote yet again as this pandemic continues to rage on and the COVID-19 cases continue to surge here in the state of Michigan. And I know that a lot of the parents, along with their kids, definitely need advice from our next guest. Carol Azarovitz is the tutor doctor. Thank you for being with us. You're the education manager. I would have to guess you are a parent's heroine right now.
I would like to think so. I'm also a parent, so I'm right there in the trenches with our parents. We understand exactly what they're going through.
Yeah. So how old are your kids, Carol?
They're 13, he just turned 13, 15, and 17. So they're in 8th, 10th, and 12th grade.
And are they all remote right now?
As of this week, we went back. We are on our 3rd schedule for the school year.
So as someone, you work with the tutor doctor, but you're also going through this with your own kids.
Every day.
What has it been like for you on both sides of the coin?
Well, it is very frustrating for the students. It's hard on both sides. Like I said, our school district alone, we're on our 3rd schedule, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet, or it's almost Thanksgiving. The kids, they're lost. And depending on the age group, mine are teenagers, and they're frustrated because they kind of understand more what's going on. Our littles, they're just lost. They're in school, they're not in school, they're back and forth. So we do talk to a lot of families. Right now, we're talking to a lot of families whose kids just simply gave up. The virtual platform is not as great as we were hoping it would be. Our teachers are doing a phenomenal job, and everybody's doing the best they can. And we love our teachers. But the virtual platform is not the same as being in a classroom with your peers and your teacher. And kids are starting to just give up. And it's kind of sad to see, but we're right there to help them along the way.
So when should a parent know when to bring in someone such as yourself or someone from the tutor doctor?
Well, they have to have realistic conversations with their kids and let their kids be open and honest. We're all trying to be positive for our kids, and positivity is a good thing right now because our students are a little bit lost, and positivity helps the mental health, it helps the situation. But with that, please let the students be open and honest with their feelings with their parents. So if you start to see assignments not being turned in, if you're starting to see their attitudes dipping and their negativity coming out, please call a professional right away. It is better for us to get in front of the ball now with COVID slide than it is to play catch up after the fact. And remember, schools have been shut down since March. So these kids are dealing with COVID slide of lost material from March to June, then our normal summer slide that we see every year, which is standard. And now they're bouncing back and forth between virtual and in-person school. So all of these combinations are just brewing for rough waters for these kids. A tutor doctor, we have a few platforms that are unique just to us. And we can help those teenagers in the tweens, specifically the tweens and the teens, help stay on track. We have our X Skills, which is the academic game plan. We'll show you the book. It is our planner on steroids. I don't know if you can see that with my background there. It was looking a little sketchy, but what we do is when we come in for our tutoring session, our tutors then become accountability partners for the first 10 or 15 minutes of that session, where we go and we teach our students how to break down their tasks in the alpha and beta, how to structure, how to prioritize and organize. And along the way, we're giving them very important study tips, long-term strategy tips, and test-taking tips. And we're seeing the reduction of test and study anxiety. Right now, we are putting a lot of students on the X Skills because they're so lost with the virtual platform and they're just throwing in the towel. We don't want them to do that. We want them to try their very, very best.
And knowing that, are there certain subjects that the kids are struggling with more now than others? Or is it every subject?
It's across the board. It really is across the board. Our littles, what we've found very helpful for them is that our tutors will log in. So we can meet in person or virtually, which is nice. Everybody's kind of at their own different place with this COVID. Some people do not want a tutor in their home. Other people don't mind it. Some of our tutors won't go to the home yet. Some will. And we are completely compliant with the governor's executive orders. So we are safe when we go into the home. But if the family wants virtual, we can absolutely do virtual as well. And for our littles, what we find is that they can log on for 30 minutes a day, maybe 4 days a week, with their tutor, and their tutor can just check in on them. Did you do your homework? Do you have any questions? And this really allows mom and dad to become mom and dad again and not a substitute teacher. For our more advanced kids, middle school is across the board. It just seems like it's all subjects, all 4 of the core subjects need a little attention. And for our high schoolers, it could be anything from geometry to calculus to physics. It's everything.
Wow. And how are you and your staff doing right now? Do you have enough employees to be able to meet the needs of the public right now?
Well, we're always looking for good talent. We are always interested in talking to folks that would like to consider tutoring. And they're welcome. I have a contact information at the end of this interview that I can show you, that they can reach out and contact us with a resume, and our recruiter will be in contact. Right now we're doing okay staffing wise. Our tutors are rolling up their sleeves and they're getting in there and they're loving it. But we always would like more talent.
What do you look for in a tutor? Do they have to have been a former teacher at all?
We do. We have current teachers on our staff. We have college juniors and seniors with their transcripts, honor roll students. We've hired professionals that want to pass on their knowledge to the next generation. What we look for in a tutor is, first of all, commitment and passion. They have to love kids, and they have to love helping educate kids. They have to be a master in their subject knowledge, whether it is math, English, science, whatever it is. They have to prove to us that they are mastered the level. We are also now starting to look for more test coaches. So as the ACT and the SAT become a reality for us again, because it was shut down for a little while, we couldn't do tests except for virtual, as well as the colleges kind of stopped for 1 year accepting the tests. Most colleges did anyway. Now the SAT and the ACT are becoming a reality again, and our test platform is so dynamic. Again, it's that one-to-one tutoring the Tutor Doctor is known for worldwide, but it also is like a multi-step, enriched, robust system. So I am looking for test coaches. And there's quite a process to become a test coach, but it's very worthwhile.
Wow. And I'm just thinking right now what some of these parents are going through, and you're needed and your staff members are so needed right now more than ever. With that, how does it work? Do they sign a contract with you, or is it hourly? Can parents kind of test one tutor over another?
Well, all of our tutors are employees, so we hire them. It is an hourly job, so they get paid an hourly rate. And as for the parents testing the waters, absolutely. So how the process works is, we'll meet with the families. Right now, we'll either do it on the, excuse me one second. Sorry, the phone just went off. Okay. We'll meet either on a call like this, like a Zoom meeting, or over the phone. We'll get to know the family and their situation. Once they enroll, we will hand match a tutor to them. So we're not just going to divvy out the next tutor that comes into line. We actually go through the list, the recruiter and I, and we will pick out the best person we think for that student. Now, sometimes when they meet, the chemistry isn't there. We do our very best. However, that's totally fine. All the parents have to do is contact the office and say, it didn't really work out with so-and-so. Could we try a different tutor? And we will absolutely rematch that enrollment for them. The magic wand for us is that one-to-one tutoring experience and we have to get it right, the tutor and the student together. That's what makes this work so beautifully.
Well, quickly, Carol, before we let you go, how can people contact you and your team?
Let me try to share my screen real quick. Again, I'm not the best at Zoom, and I have a sheet for you.
Do you have a phone number maybe?
Yeah, it's right here. Can you, I don't know if you can you see that?
There we go.
Okay. It's 1-800-4-TUTORS. Our local line is the 248 number right there, and they can find us on www.tutordoctor.com. This office is Orion-Bloomfield. We are also on Facebook. We have a Facebook support group for parents who may not be ready for tutoring, but just need to know that they're not out there alone. They are always welcome to join our Facebook help group right there. And you can also find us on Twitter and LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Carol, for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. You and your team members and the tutors out there and all the teachers as well. Boy, I think parents really are appreciating your skills and your talents, as well as your patience in dealing with the students during this difficult time. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with the Senior Vice President for the Public Affairs and Communications for the Michigan Health and Hospital Association. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards. Back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus. Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/contain-COVID. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast.
Great
I'm
to have
Tyler
you with
Keith.
us on the Oakland County Megacast. Next up on the show, we are going to bring in Ruth Ann Sutter. She's the Senior Vice President for Public Affairs and Communications for the Michigan Health and Hospital Association. Great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Good morning, Ronnie. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Ruth Ann, for those not familiar with the Michigan Health and Hospital Association, can you fill us in on your mission and your work?
Absolutely. The MHA is 101 years old. We are a statewide trade association representing hospitals and health systems across the state. Our mission is to advance the health of individuals and communities, which is in line with our members' mission as well. And we work in the public policy space, advocacy, patient safety and quality, and a number of other areas really to improve access, coverage, and the quality of care delivered to Michiganders across our state.
This past year has been a year like none other. Do you want to talk a little bit about how your job has changed during the COVID-19 crisis?
You know, it certainly has been a year, I think, that has been different for all of us, including our member hospitals and everyone who works in a hospital. And for the MHA, this has really been an opportunity to show value to our members and to help lead our state through a crisis. None of us have ever lived through a pandemic like this before. And so it has been our honor to really help lead the effort with our members to save lives and to communicate to members about how to prevent COVID-19 and to be there for them when they've needed care for either COVID or any other issue that comes along in someone's life. So it has been one for the record books. We are hoping that in the next few months, it will start to improve as we see the vaccine come along, but we have a ways to go.
And talk about the supply chain. Are the hospitals able to get what they need right now for the second surge of the COVID-19?
You know, the supply chain issues have been on our list of challenges throughout the year, whether it's testing supplies or PPE, which is personal protective equipment, the gear that our nurses and physicians have to wear to stay safe when they're on their shift in the hospital, or, you know, now the vaccine that's coming. So we are certainly seeing improvements from when we had the initial surge this spring. We are in a much better place with things like N95 masks and other personal protective equipment, which is a great thing because the first thing we have to do is keep our workers safe and healthy. You know, testing supplies can continue to be a challenge. And so, you know, recently some testing facilities have had to slow down their processes and test people only with a doctor's order or who are symptomatic, because we do need to maintain those supplies for the greatest need. And we also need testing supplies for other types of illnesses. So that continues to be a challenge.
It's like we heard nightmare stories in the beginning, and how, you know, some people on the medical team were wearing the same mask for their, you know, 10-hour shift. So hopefully one of the good things that could possibly come out of this crisis is the supply chain issues have been addressed and fixed long term so that we don't have to go through that again. As we are going into this second wave, what are the biggest concerns for the next 3 months?
The biggest concern we have right now and that hospitals face across Michigan is the health of their staff. As individuals are in the community or spending time with just their family, they're getting exposed because of the spread of this virus. And if they become exposed or ill, they can't report to work and be there to care for you, to care for their patients. So the biggest challenge right now is keeping our hospital staff safe and healthy when they're out in the community or at home. And that's where we've really had to ask and, you know, say it loudly in the last couple of weeks. We're asking Michigan residents to help us protect our nurses and doctors and food service workers and everything else, because we need them to be able to safely report to work. So staffing is a big challenge right now. And because the spread is statewide versus in the spring when it was more regional, you know, we can't share staff as easily because everyone's really stretched thin. So that's really our biggest concern right now, and why we really need Michigan's help to step up and follow the new MDHHS order and help us get out of this.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the new partial shutdown that was just implemented?
You know, we're very supportive of the MDHHS order that was issued on Sunday evening. We came out with a statement that night supporting those measures because we frankly, you know, can't afford to wait another day or another week with more spread and with our numbers rising. We've seen hospitalizations increase exponentially in the last few weeks. And while we might not be short on beds, it doesn't matter if you have a bed if you don't have anyone to work and staff that bed and care for a patient in that bed. So again, we need people to mask up anytime they leave home. We are urging people to cancel large family gatherings and stay with your immediate family this Thanksgiving. If you're out hunting, please do it safely and not with those from other households staying indoors. These are all things that can really help squash this surge. And we really appreciate the public support in doing that.
You know, we hear the balance between the economy and trying to keep the public safe. There are two sides to this coin and to this argument. Do when it comes to the employees and having enough employees, you know, becoming a nurse is not a quick, easy job that someone can just jump into.
Right.
Do you think after this pandemic, are you hearing that maybe more people want to go into the healthcare industry, or are you afraid that the crisis is going to turn people away?
Well, I sure hope it doesn't turn people away because, you know, the kind of jobs that hospitals have are, you know, secure. They are, you know, not being outsourced. And, you know, healthcare is Michigan's largest private sector employer. Hospitals alone employ nearly 250,000 individuals across our state. And that doesn't include people that work in independent physician offices or any other type of healthcare job, you know, home care and nursing homes, et cetera. So, you know, we need to take this opportunity to, you know, learn from the challenges COVID has presented our workforce and to grow our healthcare workforce. There are opportunities around the state to get into the healthcare field, into good paying jobs, and to grow into those positions. So we hope this is an opportunity to actually grow our workforce and learn from the pandemic and what we can do better next time so that we're prepared.
Yeah, I think we all want to hope that there isn't a next time. But when you do speak with some of the experts, a lot of them are not surprised that this crisis happened. In fact, some people had been warning of such a crisis years ago. So it's definitely been a learning curve. One of the things that we saw back in March and April and May, with the hospitals overwhelmed with COVID, a lot of people that needed medical attention were afraid to go to the hospitals. Do you think we're going to get back to that level?
You know, we are urging people because we did see some of those really sad instances this spring of people avoiding getting emergency care when they really needed it. We don't want that to be the case. People need to understand that if you have conditions or symptoms that you think are life-threatening or urgent, you need to get care right away. And there are measures in place in emergency departments to make sure that you are safe and isolated from COVID exposure. So we absolutely do not want people to delay care. They should seek emergency care, call 911, go to the emergency room if they have any concerns about their immediate health.
How do you think the response during this second wave is going to be different at hospitals across the state of Michigan from the first wave?
Well, you know, we've certainly learned a lot since the spring. And as I said earlier, we're in a much better position with things like personal protective equipment. It's different this time for everyone because the surge is not isolated to Southeast Michigan. We're seeing large numbers of cases and positivity rates in some of our most rural and vulnerable communities in the Upper Peninsula, in Northern Michigan, and they simply don't have as many resources in the geographic area that we do in some communities downstate. And so it's different because everyone's being pulled in a lot of directions at the same time, and it's a little harder to share resources when that happens. And that's why it's so important that even in those small communities where you think you're more isolated and safe, we still need people to wear a mask and stay away from those they don't live with right now, because that's what's going to help their local hospital get through this and make sure they have the resources there to care for you, whether you're experiencing COVID or you hit a deer with your car or whatever it might be here as we enter the winter season.
Yeah, and Ruth Ann, while we have you on, can we dive a little deeper into testing? Because we are testing so many more people here in the state of Michigan. I think some of the last numbers I heard, over 50,000 people are being tested each and every day. But it's also creating somewhat of a backlog on getting the results back, as well as contact tracing. What do you anticipate testing levels are going to be like over the next, let's say, 3 months?
You know, the state of Michigan is very dedicated to maintaining those testing levels, if not increasing them. The more cases we know about, the more, we can have people quarantine and isolate. What people need to know is that when you're awaiting your test results, especially if you're symptomatic. You should not be out in the community or going to places with other people. You should be quarantining at home while you await your test results. That's how we can ensure, even if it takes 5 to 7 days for you to get your results, which we know is frustrating, that you are safe at home and not exposing others and spreading things throughout the community. So that's one thing we really want people to understand, is that while you're awaiting your test results, you should be waiting at home. We also, sorry, go ahead.
No, and do you think, should some of the college students get tested before they come home, knowing that there could be a shortage of tests?
A test is really just a snapshot in time. So if somebody feels or knows that they've been exposed and they've been alerted to an exposure, or if they're symptomatic, they should absolutely get a test. But a test is not always 100% accurate and is, only accurate for the point in time where that sample is collected. So whether or not you get a test, if you are concerned that you've been exposed, you should take the proper quarantine measures and make sure your family understands. And if those kids are going home, they should, do so safely and stay away from any vulnerable family members. So not everybody has to get tested before they go home. We don't want that to create a false sense of security, but absolutely, if you are exposed or symptomatic, that's something that you should try to do.
Ruth Ann Sutter with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the Senior Vice President for Public Affairs and Communications with the Michigan Health and Hospital Association, and talking a little bit more about testing. When should an individual get a rapid test versus the other test? I believe it's PCR.
Yeah, so the rapid tests have not been shown to be as accurate as the PCR test. That is really, the PCR test is the nasal swab, for those who don't know, and that is the most accurate test. It does take longer to get results, though, depending on where you get your test. So whether or not somebody is given a rapid test might be up to their employer. There are places on the MDHH website for COVID that you can find different testing locations, but people really need to understand that the rapid tests are sometimes only 50% accurate. So again, if you think you've been exposed or are symptomatic, that rapid test result really shouldn't be relied on to guide how you take precautions.
And now that we are starting to see so many more people get tested and supplies can become an issue over the next few months, how often should an individual be tested? Because you're hearing where some workplaces are requiring people to have a negative test result before they come back. Yet I've heard too that some people can test positive for up to a few months after the virus has left their system.
Yeah, it's something that should be guided by science and by individuals' doctors, or there might be employer policies that need to be followed. We're really working closely at the Hospital Association with the Michigan Economic Recovery Council on helping employers understand how to have people report to work safely, whether or not they need testing. Every employer is going to be different in that regard. But again, the most important thing is for the general public is to understand that if you are exposed, you need to isolate or quarantine, and you need to get tested, especially if you have symptoms, and stay away from others while you're awaiting those results.
So if an individual maybe was exposed, but they have no symptoms and they've been isolating, should they get tested if they have no symptoms after 4 days or so?
The virus can take up to 14 days to appear as symptoms or to appear as a positive. So you could be exposed a week and a half ago and be asymptomatic, but contagious and spreading the illness. So as soon as you know you've been exposed, you should absolutely be quarantining and taking those preventive measures and wearing a mask everywhere you go. And if possible, to get a test, because that allows the health department to then trace who you might have been in contact with. So while it can take some time to get a test and get results, it's really important for us to understand the nature of the spread.
Wow, it's like we're 8 months into this and we still have so many questions, and there's still so much information to learn about this virus and the spread of the virus as well. Ruth Ann, anything I didn't touch on that you want to share with our viewers and listeners before we let you go?
You know, I'll just say again that our workers on the front lines are the heroes of this story. And the best thing that you can do if you want to support the nurses and the doctors in your community and everyone else who works at the hospital doing really important work is to thank them by wearing a mask, staying home, downsizing your Thanksgiving, and making sure our healthcare workforce can stay healthy and safe.
Yeah, they mean so much to our entire community. Ruth Ann, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, just about 20 minutes left in the show, and we'll wrap it up talking sports. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Great to have you back with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. As a reminder, you can catch Tyler and I Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. If you're out driving around, tune us in on your radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM, The Biff. We are going to end the show talking sports. What a crazy night last night for the Pistons. To talk more about that, Ansar Khan with us. He's the MLive beat writer for the Pistons as well as the Red Wings. Boy, what a night for basketball fans, huh?
Yeah, it was something. Troy Weaver, the first-year GM, definitely made a statement, and he talked about it afterwards. The name of the game was being aggressive. That was the mindset, and he certainly showed it. Really remarkable, the series of moves that he made to get 3 picks among the first 19 in the draft was quite an accomplishment, really.
So let's talk a little bit about those picks as we're going along, because it was surprising to be able to get 3 picks in the top 20 in the draft, pick up another pick that was in the early second round after you had given up your second round in previous trades. And let's start with Killian Hayes, because it's an interesting choice there. You have plenty of options on the board. In fact, some of the top guys in the draft, some of the most heralded prospects in this class were still available at the time. Guys like Obi Toppin from Dayton, a great international prospect, and Denny Avdija was also available at that spot. And of course, the Pistons are in need of a point guard, and right there you have 2 players that both have their own qualities, and the Pistons chose one over the other. One is Tyrese Halliburton, who's more of an all-around player, a little bit more NBA ready right now out of Iowa State. Excellent defender, quality shooter. And then you have an international player that played internationally over the last couple of years, and Killian Hayes, who they ended up drafting. Ultimately, what was the decision why was the decision made to go with Killian Hayes instead of a guy like Tyrese Halliburton or one of those top-level guys that are maybe at the top of the draft board for many other teams around you at that point in the draft, like an Obi Toppin or Denny Avdia?
Yeah, according to Troy, it was close. It was a close decision, but all along, Killian Hayes was at the top of their board as far as point guards, and that clearly was their biggest position of need. Now, I have this theory. I might be wrong, but there was a lot of smoke coming into this draft the last couple of weeks that they would take Patrick Williams, the wing from Florida State, who really shot up the draft board here. And there was even one report that claimed that the Pistons made kind of a promise to him that if you were available, that they would take him at number 7. And he went all the way up to number 4, which was quite remarkable to the Bulls. And my theory is that if he was available, I think the Pistons might have taken him at number 7, and then with the idea of taking a point guard with the pick that they acquired at number 16, because there was quite a few still on the board, and a lot of them were kind of close in as far as not much separation between them. And my own theory is that they would have taken Williams at 7 had he been available, and then come back and taken one of the best available point guard at 16. But anyway, they're happy with Hayes. Certainly, Troy Weaver called him a bigger version of Goran Dragic, 6'5", strong defensively. They feel that's where he can contribute right away, and some good offensive potential. They say he can score at all 3 levels, and that part of his game they expect to evolve. But as far as being able to help immediately, it'll be mostly on the defensive side. And of course, you also know with these Europeans played in Germany and France, it could take some time to translate here to North America.
Yeah, he's still a young player. He's only 19 years old at this point in time, and he's definitely got some growing to do. But on the offensive end, it is a perimeter league. He's not a terrific outside shooter, but like you said, I love the comparison to Goran Dragic because he has such a great basketball IQ. He's an excellent passer. He's a facilitator, and you have guys coming down the pike in your system already, like Sekou Doumbouya, who's a playmaker and is going to need someone to feed him the ball. And you're going to have some more players coming up as over the next couple of years. It's expected you're probably going to continue to be in the lottery for another year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years. And then you have the free agency space as well with the cap room that the Pistons have. You're going to be able to bring in playmakers. And even right now, immediately, you still have those playmaking players on your team like a Derrick Rose and like a Blake Griffin in the interim. And as you're trying to maybe move those guys and continue to build those assets up and rebuild for the future, having a playmaker that can get those guys the ball is maybe a 3D chess move for Troy Weaver in the interim, and also a move for in the future. So also in the moves that Troy Weaver made on draft night, one of the more surprising moves maybe for people that were expecting a gradual rebuild and maybe not an entire wiping of what is currently there and a full rebuild was the trade of Luke Kennard. It was a 3-team deal with the Nets and with the Clippers. Pistons pick up the 16th overall pick. They send Luke Kennard off to the Los Angeles Clippers in that trade. And Luke Kennard was one of those guys that was looked at as a building block player potentially here in Detroit, drafted by Stan Van Gundy, an excellent shooter, improving every year, but he's coming to the end of that contract, and it is really at that decision point now where if he's not someone that's going to be one of those it guys on your team in the future, you maybe want to deal him and bring some assets in instead of paying him $15, $20 million a year after matching an offer sheet when he becomes a restricted free agent. What led, other than, of course, the being aggressive, picking up assets, maybe reaching for a couple of guys in the first round that you maybe wouldn't have had an opportunity at with the number of draft picks you have, what was the motivation for Troy Weaver to deal a guy like Luke Kennard that for many was one of those people on the team that people were looking at as someone that was going to prevail through this rebuild?
Yeah, exactly what you stated. They simply just didn't want to pay him the big deal after this going into the final year of his contract, because it's not going to be a team that's going to contend here for the next few years. They're still rebuilding. Kennard didn't fit that timeline, and they didn't want to devote that much money to a guy, who'd basically be on a mediocre team for the next few years. And, I think there was also some concern too. He's had some knee issues with both knees, missed a lot of time last season, bilateral tendonitis. And I think that also played into the decision. And, they were able to get a mid first round pick for him. So I think they're certainly happy with that. The guy that they got for him, very promising, Sadiq Bey from Villanova, an athletic wing who shot, I believe, 42% from three-point range last year, 40% career shooter in his 2 years at Villanova. And so, that was one of the main things that they miss with Luke Kennard is his shooting, his three-point shooting. And they're hoping, eventually Bey can fill that void.
Yeah, Sadiq Bey is an interesting young prospect, 6'8", 216 pounds out of Villanova, just a sophomore, but he led his team in scoring with 16 points, decent rebounder as well, about 5 rebounds, and that outside shooting percentage, his three-point shooting percentage being just around that 50% mark at 45% is excellent, especially in today's NBA and with the assets that you have on the team in the backcourt, guys like Killian Hayes coming up. So also, we talked about Sadiq Bey, one of those guys that they did pick up with those draft day trades and some of the assets that they did pick up throughout draft night and the days before. Another guy is Isaiah Stewart, who's a center. Now the Pistons, of course, last season dealt Andre Drummond away, the center position somewhere that was a place that was a little bit of a weakness for this team. They pick up Isaiah Stewart, who previously was one of those guys in this draft class that was looked at coming into college as a hot prospect. He was one of the more highly recruited guys in this class, kind of overlooked in this draft, and he fits that mold that we're seeing in today's NBA of kind of a smaller but really athletic center. Tell us a little bit about what Troy Weaver and his staff liked about Isaiah Stewart.
Like you mentioned, 6'9", not a true center size, but really bulky and strong at 250. Tough, physical. It kind of fits into that kind of a bad boys going to work type Piston type player. With that kind of attitude to match. He basically said, I read a quote where he said that he's dominated the players, some of the players that went ahead of him in the draft, and and that's position, the center position after point guard. That was their next biggest need, like you mentioned. Losing Andre Drummond. Christian Wood, who's not really a true center, a power forward, but can play the center spot if needed. Still some questions over, are they going to be able to sign him once free agency starts on Friday? So that was a void that they needed to fill, and it looks like, by all indications, Stewart was a good pick there.
Ansar Khan with us on the Oakland County Megacast, MLive beat writer for the Detroit Pistons and the Detroit Red Wings. Last night, the Pistons having a high-quality draft, picking up a lot of assets, moving some players around, clearing some future cap room. Guys like Luke Kennard on his $7.5 million contract this season being moved. It would expire. He'd be a restricted free agent, likely would have gotten an offer from another team that would have been well above the qualifying offer, and of course those injury issues. They pick up 3 first-round picks total, 3 in the top 20. They also get the 38th pick and pick up Saban Lee from Vanderbilt in the second round, and some other guys additionally, veteran and Trevor Ariza, who may or may not be with the team, and other younger players for middle of the depth chart or lower on the depth chart like Rodney Magruder and Tony Bradley. So, Ansar, just a few more minutes with you on the program today. The NBA also released some details for what it's going to do in this 2021-2022 season with, of course, COVID-19, at least for the first half of the season, maybe more, still very much playing a factor in how the league is played. They're going to play 72-game season. It's going to start Christmas week. They're going to release half the schedule during training camp and half the schedule at about the midway point of the season. And there's going to be some limited options in terms of having crowds in NBA arenas. Can you talk a little bit about the NBA, about what in the NBA circles in the Detroit area and the Detroit Pistons organization, their thoughts maybe are on this upcoming season, or give us your thoughts on the plans that the National Basketball Association has to enter another season under the constraints of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things to come out of that reveal earlier this week was the play-in tournament, where they'll include the 9th and 10th seeds, and they'll play off against the 7th and 8th seeds to determine who gets into the field. Certainly, that's going to open up opportunities there. For a lot of teams that were bunched up there that you see every year fighting for those last few playoff spots. And, that could, maybe it includes the Pistons. Still remains to be seen. I certainly don't think they're a better team right now today on paper after losing essentially 2 starters and Bruce Brown with his defense and Luke Kennard with his offense for some futures. So I don't know if they'll be quite good enough to get into that 10th seed to qualify, but still, it'll certainly generate some interest. And it's interesting too that they're going to do it in halves, reveal half the schedule, because certainly you got to figure there's going to be games canceled and rearranged. We've seen it in the NFL, and in the end, it's a good move by the NBA because this gives them more flexibility. They can whatever games are canceled or postponed the first half, they can work those into the second half of the schedule in hopes of getting all teams to play the 72 games, although that could be a challenge as well.
Ansar Khan with us, Pistons and Red Wings beat writer for MLive, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. Ansar, just another 2 or so minutes left with you today on the program, as Troy Weaver definitely kick-started the full rebuild with the Pistons last night on draft night, picking up 3 first-round picks in the top 20 overall selections and the 38th pick in the second round as well. Wheeling and dealing and starting off this rebuild strong last night. Couple quick questions for you before we go. A, give us your draft grade Troy Weaver's performance last night, and then tell us what should we expect next in this rebuilding process from General Manager Troy Weaver and his staff as the Pistons go into the 2021 season.
Well, certainly, as far as a draft day grade, you have to give him an A. When you can make moves to get 3 picks in the top, I don't know if it's 18 or 19, certainly the top 20, and then get an additional pick, number 38, a guy, Saban Lee, who the Pistons projected to be even a late first-round pick. 4 solid choices. Obviously, in the draft, you never know. It takes a few years for this to pan out and see how it all plays out. But as far as right now, just the aggressiveness that Troy Weaver showed, he basically came in and said, this roster is not anywhere near good enough. And it was really an indictment on the roster to basically want to just blow it up and bring in all these new players, which he has done. And I like the aggressive mindset. He's not going to take the slow, steady approach. He wants to be proactive and aggressive now. And so that's definitely a plus. As far as what moves come next, they got a couple of veterans here, Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose. I think that they'll look to move those guys. Certainly Rose for sure will be easier to move because of his contract by the trade deadline, if not maybe before. So I would look for the Pistons to try to acquire even more future assets for those 2 players more immediately starting Friday. I think certainly their focus has got to be try to sign Christian Wood, maybe a 4-year deal somewhere in the $10 million a year range. I don't know. That sounds doable, but that would be their focus. If they're not able to resign wood, I think they're gonna need to at least pick up a center/power forward in free agency.
Well, Ansar, we thank you very much for joining us on the program today. Ansar Khan from MLive Media Group. He is the Pistons and Red Wings beat writer. We are quickly approaching 12 noon today. That is going to complete our program for the Thursday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I want to thank you for tuning in. And on behalf of Ronnie at home and me over here in the Green Media Center studios, we thank you for joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. We will return Friday morning, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and we'll see you on our replays throughout the afternoon. This is the Oakland County Megacast.